Hi everyone, Oliver Kember here, and I hope you've been enjoying the prep day and shoot day behind the scenes for Last Christmas, my latest dark comedy short film. If you haven't watched those videos yet, do check them out first, links below, because they explain how we shot the film. And what I'm going to do on the next 3 videos is explain different elements of post-production. So today I'm going to talk to you about sound design, and then after that we'll be looking at the color grade and then finishing up with the score for the film. Sound design and music make up the other half of the experience that isn't picture, and so even though this is a simple two-hander in one location, it's really important to me that the sound is as meaty and rich as it can be, and I'll show you what I mean. We'll get into that in a second. What I thought would be really cool is to show you all the whole film, but with no music playing, no dialogue playing, and just the sound design layers that Oliver Brierley and his team at Hackenbacker created. I think what that will give you is a sense of how much work goes into creating a rich sonic experience that really pads out all of the missing information that you don't record when you're making a film. Because of course, what you're there to do is to record the picture and clean dialogue, and then everything else you add afterwards. All of the sound effects like footsteps and roaring fire and mince pie crunch and stuff are part of what's called Foley, which is named after a guy called Jack Foley, who sort of pioneered the use of sound design elements. I wasn't at the main Foley session itself, and I'm not a Foley artist, obviously, but Ollie, the sound designer, let me have a go at adding a few little extra elements whilst I was in the mix that I thought would just sort of help bulk out the sound. So I'm going to play you some video clips of me having fun in the session. A final note before we get going is just to say that now would be a great time to put some headphones on or listen through some speakers if you've got them, to really sort of get a sense of what these sound effects are doing to the film. So here we go. We're trying to find the right instrument that I can hit myself with to get a good impact sound when Polly runs into Santa.
Hi.
Well, I've got a box.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
As I said, just do a few wild ones after, because the first one doesn't always exactly do the right stuff. Go.
Try one just. And then it's a pillow only. I think it's going to be a bit thinner.
I think maybe your first one's actually the best.
Yeah.
Didn't really make a huge sound on the down, did it?
We'll try and do another swig.
Which
I
is
took
exactly
one over there. It was like slightly guttural.
Do you want to try one more?
Sure.
But you know what? It is also the best night of my year. Right.
Do we think something like that?
I love it. A couple of other sounds that I didn't film that I recorded that day are, for example, when Dan goes like this, asking for a mince pie. I felt like we could just pack that sound out a bit more. So actually I just sort of tapped my own palm like this, and then we layered it in on top of Dan's hand doing this, because no matter how strong you are, I think that's only ever going to sound so rich. It just sort of bulked the sound out in a way that I really enjoyed. For me, I just think that makes a massive difference and just makes it feel really rich and meaty, and I love that sound. It's important to restate that the main team did 99.9% of the work, and The only reason I'm showing you these clips is because they're the only clips that I have of anything of the sound design. Another good bit of sound design that we recorded that day, but that I didn't get a good clip of, was when Dan turns to look for an exit route. He does this great bit of performance where he's sort of like wringing his hands in frustration. And I wanted to accent that moment because I think if you don't hear it, you might not see it. The moment will get lost. So I basically used my trusty laptop bag and then just ringed the leather in it in front of the mic, nice and close. And we layered that into the visual of Dan sort of wringing his hands.
Mince pie and cherry.
What's great is there is no leather in that scene, and it doesn't make any sense, but it does make sense if it sounds good, and I thought it sounded wicked and just had that sort of like ringing tension that really kind of made sense at that moment. I mean, he's holding a Hessian sack, and it would have just sounded sort of scratchy, and that's what I think is so awesome about sound design, is that you can take a sound that doesn't necessarily realistically fit with a moment, but it helped tell the story of his frustration, and so that's why I think it's such a brilliant hidden art. Moving on, finally now, I'm really excited to show you this version of Last Christmas with, again, only sound design playing underneath, as we've been seeing a little bit so far. No music, no on-set dialogue. So it's a very special and I think unique presentation of the brilliant work that the team at Hackenbacker did. So kick back and enjoy. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you've enjoyed this spotlight on the weird and wonderful world of sound design and Foley. I think it can add so much to your film and sort of shape the impact that the story has. Just a quick word that I recently found out that the bell icon underneath any YouTube video sends you an email when the video is uploaded, and given that I sort of upload fairly infrequently, I would love to do it more, but it just takes so much time to put them together. It would be great if you click that, and then you'll get an email when I upload. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you again soon for the color grade and finally the score for Last Christmas.